Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back into another video. Today's video is about the newest patch that was just showcased in a different format for once, which is Valor's End. This is supposed to be our Halloween patch, and it contains a Kasumi Rework, a new event pass with some skins for Nyx and Khan, and potentially an Andrew skin, but we'll get to that in just a second. Massive changes to some of the supports and even tanks. And we have here the information you guys want, but there will be more on the PDS. However, one thing they did that it's actually super surprising, it's the fact that they now gave us a date to the potential date of the PDS to open. Or, in fact, the actual date itself. So watch out for that, and you guys can also get PDS. If you don't know how to get PDS, you can go onto my channel, and once you're there, just search on the little magnifying glass that will show up. I can actually show you here. If I go here, you can go into my channel and you search here on the videos tab, and then magnifying glass will show up there. You can type PDS and you'll have here how to download it, what it is, tips, tricks, and how to get the crystals for free in there. Obviously only to use in there. Don't get it wrong, okay? So they presented us with a video instead of a live stream showcase. In fact, I was the one who was live on the Paladins game channel, still am right now as recording this video, and you guys can join me there for the next few hours as well on the channel. I'm gonna be there for a while, and they presented the video of around 8 minutes and a half. They did the premiere at 5 p.m. London time, actually 6 p.m. London time, I'm sorry, and essentially they showed us the skins that are going to be in there, and I can give you a little bit of a glimpse here. If we go to the front, they showed us this Khan skin here, which looks pretty alright. I mean, I can't really complain. I wasn't expecting the Khan to get a skin, but other than that, skin looks alright. And then he has this recolor. Reminds me a little bit of Warhammer, but it might be only myself. It is one thing that somebody did mention is the fact that he is without a body armor. You can finally see his muscles all over, similar to a American skin. Then you got Nyx with this skin, which was teased to us, but apparently didn't have the arms back on the picture we saw. The arms in the back looks pretty nice. And if you go more to the end, at the level 30, you'll get it, but the permafrost, almost like ice giants from Thor and so on. I also have noticed that if you go down there, you'll see that the title shows it's so hot right now, but the hot is in red. Not only that, but they also said that they did change a couple colors around. For example, the XP bar has changed, and they also have changed, I believe, some highlights when you put the mouse on top of certain buttons, like for example, that go-to chest there. You see there that it has a different glow now, and a bunch of other stuff as well. For example, when you go to buy boosters, you can now select multiple boosters instead of just one, to make it easier for purchases, massive purchases like multiple boosters at the same time. So you can now do that. Pretty good. And then they moved on to show us that there's also now payload tab on the customs menu. And not only that, but we also have brand new options. As you can see here, credit tick frequency, credits to give per tick, credits for holding the objective, credits for holding the payload, and bonus credits per contesting players. So these are the only new ones that we know of right now. Okay, I'm guessing this was because payload and such, and now you'll be able to essentially just, make the games faster or slower based on how you want to play them. But with this also has LTMs, and on the LTMs we can go ahead and see that they would be talking about it. Oh, before we go into the LTMs, I got to talk about this. I can't leave this behind. The Snowfall Junction map, which you are seeing right now on screen, has had a visual rework to match its previous, the visual, which had trees all over. And you might think, oh, that's nothing. Well, yeah, but for some old OG players like me, like myself, we remember seeing this map with lights on the windows and trees all over, and it had a lot more details, and they finally gave us back that. Now, it is showing, however, this map with Onslaught Ring. If you're not familiar with this map currently is only available for King of the Hill. So, is this a possible teaser for the map to be on Onslaught in the future? Maybe. We'll see. But we're gonna have to wait for PDS. We'll get into that in the showcase, the patch notes in just a second. And with it, they also tease this a little bit. You can see that little effect there. That is the Lex mark. And with it, a lot of other effects that are now visible, but they're visible down there. So it's not just randomly there on the left side of the screen. And it looks way better. Like you can see the Kasumi mark there. So you know you're being marked by the Kasumi and also marked by Lex. And not only that, but a bunch of others. We'll get into that just a second here. Okay, here they're talking about the Kasumi buffs, but I'm not really going to go into it right now because I need to read some of the stuff and I'll explain it to you in the patch notes. And here are another skin, potentially skin that we might see. It is the mount skin that we are seeing. And this mount skin, if you don't know this, there is supposed to be a secret pack inside of the BDS that was not accessible, but it was there for a little small time frame that allowed me to select it. So when I go to BDS, this is actually there and I have it locked, even though they hated it. And one thing that it did allow me to do is, for example, to play with the skin. This is the Andrew skin that comes in the pack together with this mount right here. I don't know what else comes with it. It might be like a $15 pack with some crystals, this skin, and then this. Usually it's like that and it works. I'm imagining that it should be for this patch. I mean, they held it for so long, like 3-4 patches hidden away. So it definitely has to be for now for Halloween, which makes a lot more sense. So let's continue here all the way to the front to where they show some of the stuff for Furia as well. We'll also talk about that in a bit. Furia had her Cherish rework, her Exterminate got reworked, so no longer stops on enemies and also has some brand new effects. I also had a bit of a rework, very good. Cashfin got a bit of a buff. If we keep pulling forward, 7 got nerfed and buffed at the same time on one talent, which is the first talent that not a lot of people play with this Tribunal upgrades. And Nara got nerfed, by the way, really nerfed. Nyx also got really heavily nerfed, unfortunately, and a couple changes also happened to other champions. One of them, for example, very massive, is Ying, which we'll get into it in just a second. But now into the LTMs that I just mentioned. One of the LTMs they brought back is this one you can see, where you start immediately at 2 points on each side. So there's no combat mechanics for anyone, because you either cap the point and the enemy team defends and you go to 3-3 and then you have one last round, or you just cap in deliver. So no combat mechanics on this mode. However, there is a little bit of a thing. You gain credits faster. You start off with 1,000 credits, as you can see, and you have a little bit more movement speed. But apparently cooldowns are a bit longer as well. So, you know, it's a brand new LTM, and it definitely will be fun to to test and to experience. So I guess we'll see that in the future. Then they also did the called Team Arena, focus on gunplay. So essentially. Oh, wait, this is actually the one that has longer cooldowns, maybe, instead of the first one. I'm sorry. It's just like a lot of information at the same time. But essentially, this one here allows you to have more damage on your weapon, more damage also on headshots, and a bunch of other stuff. But essentially, I think that the cooldowns are longer, so that it focuses you more on your main weapon fire than the rest. And it's all TDMs. It's like all maps will just rotate and you have all of these stuff going around. Then you have another one which will return 3 maps, Timber Mill, the old Stonekeep, and then the old Warder's Gate with the crystals will be back on these 3. These 3 maps will be back on this LTM, and you'll be able to experience the 3 different maps again. Now, don't get it twisted. These maps are not coming back. The only map that it's getting a change is essentially the ice map, as I mentioned before. I don't remember the name. What's the name of the map, folks? Remember me. Snowfall Junction, exactly. This is the only one that it's actually being reworked into what it used to be originally. Okay, so now let's talk about more technical stuff. Kasumi Rework and the changes to Furia, Ying, IO, and so on. So the first thing that you need to understand, new effects have been added to the warnings that you will be now able to see in front of your HP bar, which is what I showed you before. When Omen marks you, because he can just shoot you or you touch his little crystals off his dash and you'll get a mark, You will now know that you're being marked, so that you know that if you're going to take the extra effect from the grab and so on, or the slow from the little damage pool on the floor. Moji marking you. Now, even if it is just a little tip of a star, you will know, however, that you are now marked. If you shot the magic barrier of Moji, you will now know that you are in the risk of taking 1000 damage, and when is that mark disappearing, which is actually fantastic. You already knew that the Kasumi curse essentially would be on you because you could see Kasumi through the walls, but now you actually will have the little warning there. Ray linking target also is a brand new one. Genos mark and Corvus marks. So you could see these, I believe, on... Actually, you couldn't see the Genos mark. You could see the Corvus mark on the top left side on the little avatars of people. But here's the thing. People like me sometimes will play with the old UI, where you will not be able to see the avatars of the players up top, so you will not know who the Corvus is marking. Now, is it important? Maybe. But now that information is available to you on screen, together with these little effects, okay? So, there you go. You also have the Lilith X being there, which was already there, was a little kiss, little lips thingy. Lex Discovery, which was added not too long ago. Sarah's Soul Orbs is this one right there. You could already see it, sort of, because it would be on screen. I think they forgot to put the tire mark. Although you could see it essentially on the entire screen, but they probably forgot about that. All right, continuing on. Up to a maximum of 5 effects can be shown in a space. Oh, so you can only see 5. So you can have all of these at the same time, but you can only see 5. Now, I understand why they say only 5, because you can only have 5 enemies, but, you know, they're just fun to know there's a limit. So the little new changes to the customs, including the new payload. These are some of the color changes that happen, for example, together with the other UI changes. And also around here, you can see how some of the stuff looks like. Even the title there changed, but you can't really see it too much. But that's the Evil Mojo title, either way, you guys can't get it. The Snowfall Junction has been reworked to its previous state. The modes, as I said, so here it is. You start off with a 2 to 4 score. With increased starting and earning credits and a minor bump in movement speed, so you do have movement speed on this mode. The Team Arena, however, has slower cooldowns. Okay, there you go. So it's more damage on weapon, more damage on headshots, but bigger cooldowns, essentially. Classic maps are Borders Gates and Timbermill and Stonekeep. Now, these will only be showing up, I believe, on weekends, if I'm not mistaken. So this one should be the first one, then this will be the next one, and then this, and then I think they're just going to be rotating them again. Let's talk about Atlas. What did they do to Atlas? Now, if you didn't know how Atlas work, when you're holding out your weapon, you're holding your main shot, your fire, your left mouse button, your trigger button on the controller, whatever, it charges. And there's 4 stages to this shot. The first one will essentially just spray all over. The second one will make the pallets closer and you'll shoot less shots, but they'll do more damage. And the third one will be like 3-4 shots, and they will do a lot more damage, and it'll be easier to hit at like medium to long range. And the final one, which automatically will fire at full force, will essentially do a sniper shot that you could do from across the map with some pretty good damage. What they decided to do, however, is remove the first one, which would open the spray very, very much. And essentially, they nerfed a little bit of the damage. Now, you're thinking, okay, this is a nerf. But here's the thing. Think about it for just 1 second. The fact that you have less 1, that means that the charging a shot is faster. They didn't talk about having to increase the duration of each charging stage. So that means that a full shot is actually faster. You will do a little bit less damage. That's okay. You know, you'll do 780 instead of 840. That's a bump on the damage, you know, like real low. But the thing is, now you'll be able to do this more consistently, more fast, and you'll be able to apply cauterize it a lot faster as well. So it might not be the total bad change. We'll get to see it and when PDS comes out. Oh, speaking of which, they say the dates for PDS right here, from 13 to 15 of October. So, Caspian. No, you still cannot get stacks from shields. Okay, forget it. They refuse to do that. But they did reduce the ammo count of your pistol shots. It's only 1 bullet now instead of 3 bullets, which is fantastic. It's a lot easier to manage your ammo. They also, you know, bumped up a little bit of the speed you get, the attack speed bonus from your War or Love with the stacks. And they also changed, they essentially reworked deadly momentum. So deadly momentum is now just a piercing shot, a piercing dash. And you will keep 75% of the momentum after you do it. So you essentially is like a Vatu dash. You can look in a 45-degree angle and essentially just dash and take that momentum. So he's more of a flank now, which is fantastic. However, if you click it again, it will do the little spin that it does for extra damage. So you can still do it, but you have to be the one deciding whether you want to do it or not. Problem with this is that it's going to be really hard to do max distance and still do the twirl before that, that window closes on you. And they also capped the momentum at 875. I'm imagining this is because of some glitch. There is a glitch that if you dash in a 45-degree angle and you get crippled while on the middle of the dash, you will essentially be just cannonballed over the map, right? Slingshotted over the map. It was insane. And I'm guessing this is the reason why they put this in there, so that people can't really abuse it too much. But 875 is still pretty massive, in my opinion. All right. Also, the talent that would give that a little extra shot no longer needs 6 bullets to be fired, which means now you can actually use your pistol while actually having that little extra shot for free for every 2 swings of your sword. It's actually 2 bullets now. Remember, your pistol also is 2 bullets, each bullet, each shot. Which means 2 shots and immediately you get the extra shot, which was already like that before, but now you can do it with a sword. And the mini projectile now actually slows for 15% for 0.5 seconds. And I'm imagining if you have the speed from attacks from the stacks, you can actually stack a little bit of this effect. It's a 0.5 second window. It's going to be really hard, but supposedly you should be able to do it. And then not only can you slow people down to close in distance, but you can also stun them with your rogue's tempo. Plus, now you can just dash in a 45-degree angle to close even more distance, making you even a more of a flank. So Cashpin is definitely going to be a bigger threat now. Evie. Evie has been buffed and nerfed at the same time, but it's only on Wormhole on the nerf. Let's talk about it. The character herself has received a buff on the base heal of max HP that she has, which is now 1,900 instead of 1,800, which means that it's a bit harder to one-shot her in the head with a Strix, for example, because you might get Haven and so on, and I don't even think she can do 1,900 damage at all. But here's the thing. Not only was that changed, but they also changed the card that increases the max health. It was a 30 per level. So for those who are not aware, Evie is one of the only champions in the game, if not the only champion, that her max HP card that you could put on the loadout to increase it, it would start at 30 per level. Because Evie was such a menace with such mobility, blinking, could re-blink back and then soar, and she does massive damage with a weapon. Evie has always been a champion that it's really high up there, a very strong champion, but the only thing holding it back sometimes are bugs, and sometimes the occasional one shot to the head that would just instantly delete her, because she's like very weak as paper. Now, not only did they increase her max HP, but they also increase the amount of HP you get per level on the card that increases the max HP you got at base kit. So you can get another 250 on top of the 1,900, making a 2,150 HP Evie. Plus, here's the thing that I didn't mention on stream, you can get Veteran on top of that. So I'm actually going to be testing that on BDS, and I'm going to have a crazy good time just trying to see how hard it is to kill an Evie with over 2,200 HP, because I've never had it before. Now having it it's a dream come true, right? But here's the thing. Wormhole was essentially nerfed. So this is going to make people play Wormhole and Snow Globe and Over the Moon a lot more, because Wormhole was the one who was nerfed. Because now there will be a little rift on the place where you started with the first blink. And re-blinking, you'll go back into that original spot that people can see. So people will now know your original location. Bomb Kings, Strix, Dredges, everybody will know exactly where you started from, so you will be easier to catch, which is not okay. It's gonna be a mess. You're gonna have to blink and re-blink back super fast. Don't let anybody camp your blink. You got 4 seconds. Don't use them all. You're gonna get screwed up. I guarantee you. Also, because we're talking about that, since Snow Globe and Over the Moon are both gonna be buffed. Not buffed, sorry, but heavily picked more. There is, however, one thing that I would like to know down in the comments below. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that this card is fair? The Killing Frost. Because here's the thing. You're playing Over the Moon. You're getting extra damage for a couple seconds every time you fly. Now, flying is already super fast and hard to track, so that's going to be hard to catch you. Kill to Heal heals you through Cauterize, and essentially this triggers even on assists. 100% cooldown reduction on Soar. So you're going to have a Soar for every assist. You're going to be flying all the time, extra damage, and so on. I've seen a lot of pro players, including some people in competitive and even casuals, using this to its fullest. Even I have been doing it very heavily. My question is, do you guys think that this should not be 100% or at least on assists? Because this card is massive. And I don't want to be the one to nerf Evie, obviously. But this is more of a question. Do you guys think that that's fair? Okay. So, with that said, let's get into the next one. Furia. Furia, I need to talk about this. This is a very complicated situation here. So, Furia Cherish has been put into base kit in a way. So essentially, remember the old effect of where Cherish would essentially heal more based on how much healing people were missing? Well, yeah, that is the new effect. They brought that back for some reason. Now also heals up to 15% more based on target missing health. They don't talk about here about the max HP that people have. All right, so I'm guessing that's gone. That's out of the window. They increased the range of the default Kindle Soul, which just doesn't make any sense because if they did bring the Cherish into Kindle Soul, the extra range is 300, so that would make it 425. For some reason, they're saying that they are increasing the range from 125 to 200, which if the Cherish is going into base kit, it should just be 425. But apparently that's not what they're doing. What they are doing, however, is just a little extra effect of having more heals based on how less HP they got on their HP bar. And the extra HP from the ability itself apparently now isn't there as well. And essentially the talent has been reworked to heal for 50% of what it heals the original person around that person in a 20 unit radius in an AoE. So if I heal this, like imagine there's let's say a Maeve right there, and there are 20 units around in a little circle, there'll be like a Leon and maybe a Cassie. If I heal the Maeve and those people are within that 20 units radius, they will heal for 50% of what I heal the Maeve. Now, I'm imagining that even if the Maeve is full HP, they will still get that heal. Okay, so it's like, it's just using it to bounce the heal off. But I don't know, like we have to wait on PDS for that. It's an, you know, this AoE excludes Furia. I didn't read that. They're really like, no, Furia's strong enough, like she can't have no self-heals. Solar Blessing ain't gonna heal her, and neither is this. Okay. Exterminate has been completely just tossed on the garbage bin. And instead what they did is a new talent which increases the Wrath attack speed bonus for 15% per tier. You start off at 30% already, apparently, from up from 30% without talent. New max attack speed is 45%. Okay, I'm a bit confused. How many tiers are there? Like, I'm gonna be honest, I haven't played Fury in a bit to remember the tiers of the Wrath or whatever. I think she only has one tier. That's it. And I'm guessing you get like another 15%. You start off with 15% with nothing, so it's more than the 15% you start off at normal without talent. Up from 15%, 30% without talent. Okay, no, 30% is it. Okay, I think I'm getting now. I'm sorry. But essentially, I think what happens is, without this talent, you can go all the way to max 30%. With the talent, they essentially give you another 15% on top, which means that at max is at 45%. So you can have a little bit more speed, but it's 15% really worth it? I think people are still going to stick up for Cherish. Because now with the healing extra on AoE, that means you can get more Wrath as well. So yeah, Forget that. They nerfed they increased the range, they nerfed the base heal, and they nerfed a little bit of the heal over time. Let's continue. Grover got nerfed on both his initial heal of Rampant Blooming and also the heal over time. So, yeah, I'm imagining when they say Rampant Blooming, they're talking about the Vine healing. Unless they're talking about just the... unless they're talking just about the Q of Grover. So Rampant Blooming is this talent, right? So heal for a burst in additional on the unit reach. Oh, wait, no, it's for the Vine. Yeah, it's for the Vine. So the base Blossom is still fine. They didn't touch that. They just nerfed the healing on the Vine. Imani, before I go into bug fixes, I just want to add on to this that they nerfed Imani on her Mana Rift, which is the talent where it creates like this little rift and gives you mana over time. So now you have to be more closer to the Mana Rift itself, but they also fixed the problem that Imani had. When people are looking at the dragon, they could see your body location, okay? So that's been fixed. Nara has received a nerf to Mother's Grace, where bonus healing effect is no longer there, and her Earthen Guard ability now has less 5% DR, and it lasts for 0.8 seconds less. That's almost less 1 second, which, you know, means that Nara might not be as played as much. IO, old effects moved into Guardian Spirit of Lifelink. What does this mean? So Lifelink is the talent that essentially heals around Luna, and they remove the penalty of your main healing on your main Moonlight healing right click ability. So no longer you have to worry about healing for 135 instead of 150, but they grabbed the healing that Luna does and just made it base kit. So Luna will heal at all times. Any talent you use, she'll be able to heal all times. But it did get nerfed a tiny bit. It was supposed to be at 600 something. No, not 600, sorry. 300 something, so now it's 300 per second. So this means that IO is always going to have the companionship of Luna to be able to heal her in case it's necessary, or to just drop her on point even if you're playing Goddess Blessing and, you just have Luna still healing on point, which is fantastic. And apparently there was Moonlight though is visible regardless of proximity to target. I don't understand what that means. You guys who are IO mains can tell me down below. Let's talk about Kasumi. This is in 5 years, the first champion that has been completely changed from a class, so now she's a flank. No, she did not receive a new weapon. She still has the doll. Now, the doll, however, has a less effective range. Decrease and effective range increase. Okay, so the range itself, it went from 120 units to 100, so it's going to be harder to deal with maybe like a Drogus or something. But the damage drop-off is going to start a bit, further down the end. So almost essentially she doesn't have any damage drop off, for what I can understand. I think that's what they're saying. Increased damage from 200 to 300 per shot, and obviously then you have the extra damage per stack. They also that little missing animation, they cut down the duration of that animation in half, and they decreased the fire rate from 0.6 to 0.6 point. No, not 0.6 points, 0.675. So it's pretty minimal. You can't even tell. But her Savage Chair, which is a right mouse button, now does a little bit less damage. So instead of 400, it does 300 at initial. By the way, you can still do more damage based on stacks. Hold up, and you can decrease it has been decreased the cooldown of it from 9 seconds to 7 seconds. And then the range has also been nerfed to 100 units. So again, her entire effective radius of everything she does with her main weapon is 100 units, both a right click and left click. Removed also the disarm from people with 5 stacks. And now you'll be healed per stack instead of 80 per stack. And if they have 5 stacks, you heal for 300. So you have self-heal. This is essentially a Rain Soul from Ceres. The body and soul has been reworked, so essentially when you click the ability again, you'll actually get teleported straight to where you are with the spirit, not where the body was. And you are fully invisible while moving around. So people know you were moving around, but they can't tell where you are. I did ask a developer, can you use Eliminate to see where a Kasumi is? According to them, no, you cannot. You can only tell if they are literally in your face. you know, how you can see a sky if she is invisible but without illuminate. She's standing right in front of you, you can see her. That's it. Spirit Lure, so now you can place the bombs, the little traps at further range, like the second talent that allowed you to just essentially put the dolls from far away. Now you can do that at all times, but here's the thing. No longer fears, it now has a slow, and the traps can be destroyed because it has 300 HP. If you don't know what this means, the traps could be seen with Illuminate, and could be triggered because the trigger radius was bigger than the explosive radius, but now people can actually just shoot them. That's it. And the placement is now more responsive, so when you're looking at the location, that's where it's going to be. It's not when the animation ends. Once you start that clicking of the animation, that's where it's going to be. That's it. You don't have to worry about it. Now, as for that talent, you know, essentially got changed. So what happens to the talent? The talent now no longer automatically explodes the traps. And instead, when they get triggered, they need to have somebody triggering them. You can reactivate them to teleport them to the most recent trap, causing it to explode on arrival. And it will increase the explosion size by 25%, so that in like teleportation makes a big bang. And once the stacks, the stacks of crystal that applies by 2, and it slows. And its slows is and the slow is actually replaced by a 1.5 second sphere. After the reactivating, the spirit traps will go on cooldown. That's exactly how it used to be before. So essentially, this talent is no longer about increasing range. That is array base kit. It's just they don't explode. You have to trigger them on purpose. They just get triggered. They get armed, and then you click to go to it, and they have a massive explosion, and they have the fear on it. That's essentially it. They changed a couple of cards here. For example, the Savage Terror cooldown card that will decrease the cooldown of your right mouse button has been nerfed because obviously they removed a couple seconds of the cooldown. Crystal all effect incorporated into Savage Terror. So I think this one here was the one. Crystal is the one when you right click somebody, it could every 30 seconds randomly get you an extra stack. I think they just put that into the base kit of the Savage Terror. But essentially now the new card, what it does is if the enemy dies with Savage Terror, a random enemy within a 30 units of the location can get up to 5 stacks from just killing somebody. Somebody else gets 5 stacks. That's what can happen. The card Unseen Eyes, this was one I believe that will increase the duration of the disarm, has been reworked to just give you more heal per curse. So essentially you become Vora almost with this, with the stacks, okay? Thumba has this card that heals him. I believe this is when you heal somebody, it will heal you for 15 per point. Now it's 20 per point over the duration for 5 seconds. Every 1 second for 5 seconds. Nyx has been nerfed. Less HP, more cooldown on the Rift Slash, which is a right mouse button, less strength on the slowness, so instead of 35% it's 25%, and the slow duration is only half of a second instead of 1 full second. As for a Royal Presence, it also had another extra 3 seconds on top of the cooldown, so it's harder to use. Octavia now you can just hold down the button to shoot. You don't have to click every single time. When you're holding down your scope. They say it can now be fired full auto, a marksman's rifle. I don't know if this actually is when you're scoped. I need to test this on PDS. But I'm imagining it's both, when not scoped and scoped. But they also nerfed the damage they do with scoped. Ray now can just use her ultimate to stop execution, so Vora, Lex, Drogos can no longer kill Ray when using her ultimate. Ceres now can heal during the shadow travel, which is absolutely fantastic in my opinion. And it has an extra 1 second duration. You can heal while on the shadow travel. It's absolutely fantastic. And they also increase the range from the heals at base kit. Fantastic. Sati no longer reveals and heals people with the talent of the coins. Instead, it just hits 2 people. So, whatever, I guess. However, there was a thing that when you shot the coins with your ultimate, it would just break the coins. Now it actually triggers the coins to shoot like you would shoot the coins normally. And now the bots also will shoot the ultimate. That's also a thing that it wasn't doing. Sky got nerfed 3 times, so less HP, less damage on poison bolts, and the passive that will give you speed on invisibility is less 10% of speed. 7 actually now properly matches on burst mode the amount of bullets you shoot. You do 6 times damage. Now you actually consume 6 times ammo. But it does less damage, and it also has less range. The automatic does more damage, but it has a less effective range. And the mag dump has more effective range, so you can do mag dump a little bit, like 10 extra units. Double the range. The ability to change the modes is faster. The talent, Tribunal upgrades. The burst mode, which would create an AoE explosion, no longer does that, but it does create a reveal for a little extra more time. The auto would freeze people, now freezes more per stack. And the mag dump that would burn people now burns more per tick. The cards that the cooldown reduction from the Knight, I believe this is the one that reduces the cooldown of the grapple, is now cut in half essentially per point. And Terra, which would increase the pull of your grapple, is now nerfed by 1% per point. Vivian had more HP on her bonus shield HP, but I think this is from the talent only. Okay, so she doesn't have more HP on shield normally. And also, if you just get stunned while your shield is active, you would lose the shield. No longer you do lose the shield. It will stay active. Ying probably had the biggest changes of all, at least in my scene, and I'll explain why in a second here. So her illusions now have 1,500 HP instead of 1,000. Now she can actually put 3 clones instead of 2. And the heal increased for per tick of the clone will be 500 instead of 420, so extra 80. So not only can you have more clones out, but they heal more, and they also are harder to kill. Plus, now your ultimate will actually have half of its effect. So instead of being 600 heals per second, 300 are guaranteed to happen. They're through healing. They will not be cauterized. Remember that 90% cauterize is max, so that means the 30 of the rest 300 on top. So that means that 330 per second will happen 100% on Ying's ultimate. A global map ult that allows it to heal everybody without even being near them, seeing them, or you can be on the other side of the map. It now actually just ignores cauterize for a portion, which I don't know about you, but not only did they buff a little bit of both healing and damage Ying, because now people who do play, both the damage talents will have 1 extra clone to do damage, but, and, even the spamming of clones is going to be fantastic with the entire explosive clones talent. But they also did a talent that now ignores cauterize. Sorry, not talent, the ultimate ignoring a portion of cauterize. Half of it entirely. So, yeah. That's something. Now, I'm not going to go into the bug fixes. There are a couple good ones here, but I mentioned up top, for example, in money, no longer you can't see people through by looking at the dragon, and, for example, Kasumi can now shoot Grok's totems. Other than that, you have a couple changes here. You can read it yourselves. The link to this page will be in the description. PDS will be up between 13 to 15 of October. Make sure you check out the other video I said on my YouTube channel. I might place it on the end of the video so you guys can check out PDS and understand what it is. Only PC can access PDS. Don't forget, PlayStation, Xbox, you cannot. I'm sorry. And it's Steam only, not Epic Games. So if you guys can join and test out stuff, go into the official Paladins Discord after, and there will be rooms for PDS reports of bugs, PDS feedbacks, and so on. Go in there, drop your stuff. You can also come back to this video or the video that I will be doing showing what PDS holds and talk about what you might have found, like bugs, feedbacks, and so on. And I will take the information and then potentially pass it on to the developers. So that is pretty much it. Again, I had that question of the Evie card. What do you think it should be changed or remain the same? And now I have one final question. What do you think about this update? What do you think about Kasumi changes? Do you like the new event pass theme? Or are you upset that there's not enough skins right now going around? I want to see all of that feedback down in the comments below. Just tell me what you think about the patch in general, and I'll be happy to look through the comment section. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. And until then, have a wonderful time. Bye-bye.